Was born and brought up in India, in Madras, but now it's called Chennai. Grew up in a very ardent and very strict Christian family. My parents made sure that we went to church right from when we were young, and was also educated in Christian schools where we were taught about Christianity and did all the exams for Old Testament, New Testament. So it was pretty, I should say, in a very pious way from right when I was a youngster. I grew up in a very Christian way. So I think that's how I came into this, I think so. So it's not been something which gradually happened to me. It was something which was inbred in my life from when I was right from my upbringing, I would say. As a teenager, I sort of realized that I enjoyed doing it, and I started getting involved by myself into a lot of activities and things like that. I started doing Bible quizzes, and then started preaching at that time with the help of my father, who was a lay reader as well back in India. And I think I just gradually, I would say, I just started doing a lot of things.
Now, you didn't stay in India. You came over to the UK in 2005, I think. What brought you over to the UK?
I came in 2005 to do my master's in teaching English as a foreign language. Once I finished my studies, I met my husband Julian over there, and then we got married in 2008.
It must have been a bit of a culture shock coming to live in Wales permanently.
Yes, it was initially, because in London you have the sirens and all sorts of things, noises throughout. And then when we first came here, I was like, oh, there's nothing here. And the shops close very early and there's no noise at all. But then I've started loving it more now. And now when I go back to London, I'm thinking, oh, I want to go back home to Wales.
Your faith at that, was very important to you. So when you met Julian, how was his reaction to the fact that you were a very committed Christian?
I don't think he had any problem with that at all. He actually encouraged me. He's still very encouraging. You could actually ask him that if you want to, I would say.
It's something I've encouraged her, and I think she's perfect for it. Absolutely perfect. She could meet anybody and start a conversation, put them at ease. She's very good.
And I guess too that maybe there's something about Shirley that's made you think about faith for yourself as well.
Well, I've always had a feeling for it, but it's not something I'd explored much. But since Shirley's gone down this path, then obviously it opens up things to you. We've been to Jerusalem and we've seen the sights over there and stuff. So yeah, it does rub off.
What about the church atmosphere? Were the churches too quiet?
Yes. Yes and no, I would say, because when we first moved in here, when I went to the 11 o'clock service, there was 8 people. But then I loved the church because it was a small church in this village, and people were so welcoming and accommodating, and they didn't feel like I was any different, and they welcomed me as soon as I went in there. And then slowly I started getting involved in a lot of things, and the vicar found that I was really good in a lot of things, so he said I should maybe become a worship leader. It did help because we made the congregation increase to 12 to 13 people, which was good, and that sort of number stayed and people continued coming there. And even when I left after 6 years of being there, taking all the services, when I left, and when I speak to them, they say that those people still carry on, which is something I feel happy about because it has helped their church to carry on.
So you were really pitched in at the deep end when there was an interregnum, and it sounds too as if you've managed to get your tongue around all these Welsh place names and Welsh words.
Yes, and I'm learning Welsh as well. So yes, it is. It was very difficult initially because there was a lot of things done in Welsh which I couldn't do. But then I thought, like, initially people will feel bad that I'm not doing anything in Welsh. But then they sort of understood that there are things that I can't do in Welsh, and they appreciated it, and they helped me, lots of people. Oh Lord, open our lips.
Now, you were going great guns, worship leader, warden, you were leading the services, but then things notched up a gear or two, and it was really around about the time of the arrival of your son Dylan.
Yes, and that only made my faith grow more stronger. And the day that he came out after that, when I saw him, I knew that he was a gift from God, and I told Julian straight away. I said, I think maybe I should get into becoming a vicar. I think the calling was more stronger at that time after I had Dylan, I would say. It was there all through, but I had left it behind, I had just put it in the back burner, and I thought, oh, I'll do it. But then when he was born, it was at that time I knew I should do it.
Obviously you had to go to the discernment selection process.
Yes.
In church in Wales, and then you were accepted. Was that nerve-wracking? How did it feel?
It was nerve-wracking, I would say, because it was a lot to take on board, and you have like 6 people who are literally asking you a lot of questions, and I can understand that they have to do that because they need to make sure that you are who you are and you will be able to survive, because it's not like any other jobs. There's a lot of things, pastoral duty, there's loads you have to do, and it's like the whole world's burden is in your shoulders. So you need to be a person who's strong enough to cope with that. And so they really do a very good job, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I go on Wednesday and come back on Friday. They call it a hybrid variety. And it's good because you're there for 3 days, and you have a community where we sit together and have meals, where we spend time together. We have social events. We also have like prayers and morning worship. And when we start on the Wednesday, we start at 11 o'clock with a Eucharist. So that's when we share all our stories as well. So we come and we meet people, we have a chat over a coffee, and then when the Eucharist is over, we are given time by the principal to speak about what has happened in our own places and talk about ourselves. And then we have a prayer session where we pray for people, and then we disperse for lunch. So, there is always a community there, and we're always together, so it's nice.
For you, prayer is vital, isn't it?
Yes, it is very vital. And I think prayer is something that it has to be there in everybody's life. And that's something I found a lot of people are lacking in churches. And a lot of people, when I spoke to, they always told me that prayer is something that is lacking in our churches. We need more prayer. And I am this person, when I do the prayers of intercession, I write them by my own and I do it. I don't want to repeat the same thing that's in our book. For me, the prayer has to have meaning.
And you've incorporated some yoga into prayer. Tell me about that.
Well, as part of my placement now from St. Pardon's, I'm in St. Peter's Church in Carmarthen under Reverend Richard. So I was talking to people in St. Peter's during December time, and I was telling them, I want to start something different, so what do you think I should be starting? And immediately a lot of people were talking about prayer, and they said we don't want these Lenten talks, Lenten series, Bible readings and talks, because that's all like everything is the same. You do something different. One day in the night when I was going to sleep, it was like as if I was just thinking, and yoga just came into my mind, and I said, oh, I grew up with yoga, I do yoga.
And what's been the reaction?
It's been very good. It's been really, really amazingly supportive from a lot of people. We have like around 15 to 20 people who come, and those people, amazingly, they love it. They like that they stretch to the Lord's Prayer, they stretch to the Psalms, and they do all sorts of things, and they feel that they are refreshed, they are calm, They don't have any stress. That 1 hour makes them so happy.
Why do you think God has called you? Is it because of the things you've just been saying? What's He got for you, do you think?
I think God has called me to make a difference. I think being from a different culture, okay, and not being scared about speaking about God and having a passion of God, I think I can speak to people and make a difference, and that's what I want to do. And I think that is why God has called me, to make a difference.